Hello everybody, Zenokami here from Essence of Zen. Today we're going to give you another Python tutorial. This one is going to be on loops. So this is going to be essentially while loops and for loops. I'm not 100% sure at the moment if I'm pretty sure Python does have try and catch, but we'll save that for another episode. But for this one, particularly, we're going to stick with while and for loops. So let's go ahead and bring up our idle. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and make a new program. Well, a new window for the full program. And then we're going to go ahead and say, oops, tutorial. I'm going to save that. And I thought I had a projects folder. That's what I did. Anyway, my loops, py. Okay, so essentially what loops are is just that they're loops. They rerun and follow the same path over and over and over until a set condition is met. For instance, if you want to create an infinite loop, being a loop that never stops, it's pretty simple. I do believe, if I remember correctly, a equals 1 while in this while loop, and then you give it conditions. So while a is equivalent to 1, then you're going to use your colon symbol to say I'm done with the conditions. Now when this condition is met, I want you to do this, and we're going to say print get on the floor, everybody do the dino. Sorry, that's what dinosaur, right? I don't know. Oh well. Get on the floor, everybody do the dinosaur. And then you're just gonna run it. And this will continue to loop forever and ever. So I'm gonna use Control-C to jump out of the program. But essentially that's a loop. And you see it printed roughly over 900 some odd times. 965. Yeah. So that's a loop. Now, what use are loops for? Loops can be used essentially for calculating certain things at a time. So I should have created an example before recording. So let's just give it a counter. So me personally, I like to have a variable that I use for all my loops. I usually call this variable switch. So basically when the switch is on, the loop is on. When the switch is off, and I use 0 for off, 1 for on. So while switch equals 1, because the switch is on, so then I'll have I have a better idea. Number of apples equals 0. Okay, and I want this program to continue to run, collecting apples until it reaches 100. So now that I have my variable for number of apples, I'm going to create a while loop that says while number of apples is less than or equal to 100. Less than equal. So what is? Yeah. I'm going to say print. Oh, I always do a capital P there. Print collected my apple. Let's have like an exclamation mark. Collected my apple. Yeah. I like apples, by the way. I really do enjoy apples. They're delicious. Number of apples. Print collected my apple, and then we're going to basically add 1 to our variable. And because this is not in a function or a class, everything is pretty much a global variable, so there's no scope here. So we're just going to do number of apples plus equals 1. don't think Python has the plus for iteration, so I'm just gonna leave it be. And basically, this will basically go, okay, while number of apples is less than 100, so it says apples is 0. It does this. It says, is 0 less than or equal to 100? Yes. So then it does it. And then it's going to, I want it to print out number of apples. This plus string number of apples. And I think that's right. Number of apples. And let's see if this runs. Yep. Oh, that's why. Not less than equals to less than. I wanted to stop at 100. No, because that'll stop it at 99, I think. I'm so rusty in programming. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, alright. I was getting confused with array systems, and we'll get to arrays later on. In the most formidable era of all coders, your scope is out of range, or your data is out of range. I hate arrays, but I love them at the same time. So basically, this is your while loop. And as long as your condition is met, it'll continue. Otherwise, when that condition is done, it's going to basically jump out. And to show it again, let's actually lower the count so it happens twice as fast now. And then everything that's indented is a part of the while loop. So this is in the while loop. Everything that's indented. Now, if I go down here and do a backspace, this isn't in the while loop. And that's pretty much self-explanatory if you've done the if statements from the previous video. That was many was it? Yeah, it was a long time ago. Sorry for the wait, by the way. Or the previous basic video. So if I do this and I type in, or if I do print while loop is done, and rerun it again, it'll go all the way up to 50, and then it'll say while loop is done. Now, for loops are a little different. For loops are basically, it's kind of like a while loop, but the conditions are more contained, they're more controlled. You can have while a, I'm getting a message. My phone is doing this. It'll basically say for an item in an item. So let's say, what is the way to do this? I wanted to find an easier way to show this, but I can't really get things simple off the top of my head. So what I'm gonna do is basically create a list real quick. So I'm gonna create my list. First, let's go ahead and shorten that so I don't have to run it. So we're gonna have my list equals 1, 2, 3, A, B, donut. Donut is like that, I think. If I'm showing how bad at spelling I am so sorry. It's quite embarrassing. Quite frankly, you know, like a lot of programmers are really bad spellers. From my experience, anyway, from our professors to the people I've been taught under who weren't professors but were people in the industry who came to visit, sit for college and etc. But whatever. So I have my list, and I'm gonna say for items in my list, and I think I can just so how many elements are in this list? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This should probably print 6 times rather. Print high, and that should do it, I think. So it's, yeah, it works. So how many times did it print out? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. So basically, the for loop is how do I put into words? For condition X in container A, do an action. And you may be wondering, well, what in the world is a for loop good for? It is great for going through your list or dictionaries, which is Python's way of calling hashes, and being able to edit things without having to redo everything from a coder's perspective. That might be a little confusing in the way that I worded it, so I can probably show you by an example. So what can I do to show you a little easier? Yeah. So the simplest thing that I can actually think of to show you is kind of what we did with the while loop. So you know how we count everything? Now we can actually count in the element. So for instance, if your list was nothing but items, like chips, candy bar, I hope I'm not making anyone hungry, ribs, I don't know why your item collection would be ribs, potion of archery, corgi. I like corgis. Corgis are awesome. Alright, so let's get rid of all numbers. So this time I want to know how many items, or essentially, how many items do I have in my list, my inventory. So I can basically just say for items in my list, I'm going to make I need to create a new variable. Number of items, 0. Alright, so for that I'm going to do number of items, and you can use whatever variable names you want. I've already explained why I use camel case, not camel case, underscore for most of my basic variables. It's easier to know what it is. It's clear cut. You don't have to guess what an abbreviation is. I can do num of ites, and you may think numbing of international telekinesis. I don't know, but this way you know exactly what I'm doing. So number of items is going to be plus equals 1, and then when this is said and done, we're going to print number of items. Oh, sorry. Plus equal. Plus equals 1. And let's also do this. Number of items in your inventory plus string concatenation. I don't think this is actually concatenation with that particular phrase or that lineup, whatever. So it should now say number of in your inventory is 5. Let's see, chips, candy bar, ribs, potion of archery, corgi. That's 5. So that's basically what for loops can be used for. It can also be used for basic databases, and that's getting a little more advanced in terms of you can have a for loop inside of a for loop that will basically say the first for loop will search the entire list or the entire type of items or your dictionary, whichever you have it set up as, and then you have another for list that says for every item you check in a list, does it match this condition? And if it does, you can pull it and you can pop that item out of the list, and then you can recode that list to. I'll make a tutorial on how to do that later. It's not technically advanced, but it's like the next step. It's that intermediate level of programming. So I hope this is a basic covering of while loops and for loops with Python. If you have any questions and you need help with learning how to do something, please leave a comment in the section below. We'll get back to you. If you like the video, please leave a like. If you want to see more of these tutorials, feel free to subscribe. That's it, folks. Can I get sued for that? I'm not. Until the next video, guys, I'll see you later.